Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council members. Tonight I'm here to present the introduction for the Bikeway Master Plan. And I have about 24 slides. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly because I'm sure you are not, you might not be interested in every detail, but I'll go through them pretty quickly, but then I'll be happy to answer questions. I actually have more slides after that, but I'm going to save you the headache and not show them unless you're interested in some more details. So, a little bit of background in bikes in Rockville. The idea started in 1981. I think they started something. I'm not even sure that they would call it the Bikeway Master Plan at this time, but definitely 1998 it was an official Bikeway Master Plan adopted, and then 6 years later there was another one updated. At this time, the 2004 plan was mostly managed by the Parks and Rec Department. It was mostly recreational purpose, except of course the Millennium Trail was the big circle around the city. But other than that, they had only a couple routes going through Rockville east to west. But it was not really like a network for bicycle facility or as a mode of transportation. And that's why we are doing with this plan. We are trying to, we take it over in our Public Works Department, Traffic Division. We are updating the master plan as a transportation network, in addition to a lot of other things that I'm going to go through quickly. But the main idea of this plan is to create a network. And in 2012, we got a grant from COG, and that's how we started. We got some help from a consultant to do some legwork for us to start the plan. So just to give you an idea, we get the grant in 2011. We worked on it with a consultant in 2012. Between 12 and 13, we work on the plan itself. We work with our RBAC, Traffic Commission, and in February 2014, we had the draft plan. This is just timeline about Planning Commission work. First time we brought this Planning Commission was early 2014. Our first official presentation was in March. And as you see, we had 13 work sessions with the Planning Commission. Some of them were public hearings, 3 of them. And we had 3 discussion meetings. And we had 5 work sessions. And we ended by, in September 28th, we finally get the plan approved and recommended to the Mayor and Council. So going through the plan, really the main thing is this plan is more of a vision of what we are trying to see what a network will look like in Rockville. So we know that there are a lot of benefits for biking, for health-wise, environment, transportation cost, and the plan is trying to make it feasible for all ages and all capabilities of people that can be able to ride their bikes. And therefore, we have different facilities. Going back a little bit to the 2004 master plan, some things were accomplished, which was the Carl Henn Memorial Millennium Trail, the I-270 path, bridge, and there were a lot of shared road facilities, which is pretty much signs, shared road with the bikes, but not many bike lanes or really other facilities. Of course, between 2004 and now, we had also the complete street policy, which has encouraged us to include bikes in our design. So just a slide about stakeholders, people who are involved in this, in the plan, commissions, RBAC, and departments. A lot of objectives for the plan. Mobility, I'm not going to go through them each one, but the mobility, of course, we want people to be able to move on their bikes from one place to another and create facilities in the design phase through our developers. Encouraging to help with the environment with the bike use. Safety, it's important not just for the bikers, it's important for pedestrians and for other modes of transportation. So those are things that we consider when we are looking at at the plan. I want to point also number 4.4, and this is a little bit related to safety of a facility. And this is a part of Montgomery County when they came last month to present the stress analysis. They were showing what kind of facilities can be dangerous or people are not comfortable riding on them because it's dangerous, it's narrow, the road is not wide enough, all of those things. So those are part of what we should consider in the design. Encouragement is a lot of things, but encouraging people to do it, young kids at schools, educate them, and so forth. So those are the facilities that probably you've seen on the plan. Actually, there is one is not there, but let me go quickly through these ones. We say shared roadways, and shared roadways are either signs, which is the one on the top left, by putting a sign saying share the road or this is a bike route, or the one underneath it, which is we call shadow, which is really a pavement marking. We are saying that you can use the bike here. It's a bike and two arrows. And then the second one in the middle is bike lanes. So it's a little bit higher than a shadow because we actually not just put a bike symbol on the pavement, we actually put a bike lane. So bicyclists will have like a specific 5 foot or 6 foot wide lane to travel on. The one on the right is a cycle track. And this pretty much like a facility off the road, can be one way or two ways, it's usually like 10 foot wide. And you will see on this plan, we really have it only on 355 as we are proposing the cycle track. And then last, at the bottom right is a shared use path, which is a facility totally off the road. Again, usually 10 foot, sometime 8 minimum path, like the Millennium Trail, for example. The one thing is not here is actually a combination of two, which we call a climbing lane. And a climbing lane will be when you have a road on a hill on one, and you don't have enough space on one side, which is going up, you put a bike lane, but then coming back on the other side, going down, we put shadows because people probably will be going faster and they might not need a bike lane like the one going on the uphill side. So it's really a combination of the bicycle lane and a shadow. But you might see on the plan something called the climbing lane. This is just a summary of what we have today, the existing facilities, and what we have, what this plan is recommending. Like you see, the middle one, cycle track, 5.2, that's totally on 355. Bike lane, significant from 3. We're recommending to reach almost 10. Shared use path, of course, the Millennium Trail is a big one. It's already there, 31 miles. We have only 4 new miles. And then the shared roadways, which is signing, and the shadows, 17 more miles. This is what the plan looked like. It's hard to see, but we have it in colors, different colors for different facilities. We actually tried to do something because the Planning Commission informed us that maybe some people might have trouble with the colors. They want to see something maybe without the colors. So those circles, there are some letters in those circles. So like BL, in the blue will be the bike lane. SR will be shared roadway. Again, it's hard to see in this screen, but it is big on this map. The plan also has what we call spot improvements. When we are talking to the Planning Commission, they specified few locations. They said, well, we are just talking about network. How about an area like crossing on Falls Road, crossing I-270? How about 355 at North Washington? So we included what we call spot improvements. So we put those specific locations in the plan to give them some attention during the design, or at some point they will be also as important as adding network or facilities to the network.
Can you go back to that again? Edmonston Bridge over 355?
Yeah, actually, it's over the track, the rails. So
Okay,
it
not
is
over
east of 355. You're right.
It's not over 355, it's
Good
actually
catch.
over the track. Okay.
Yes.
I just
Maybe this is just hope that someday we'll have it over 355 as well. We'll fix that. One thing I want to bring to your attention, I probably put it in the agenda, but this is probably one of the reasons it took so long with the Planning Commission to get this plan moving. And there was some concern from the Planning Commission that if we have this plan approved and adopted, maybe staff will just go ahead and start to put those facilities everywhere. And they want to make sure there is some kind of a mechanism or a process of how staff will not have all the power to do this. And they were requiring us to come back and conduct some public hearing in front of somebody, which at this point it's a mayor and council. That's what's in the plan. And then in summaries, I want to have few things. If we are going to do them through our project, we need to go to the mayor and council to do the public hearing. And those are the things I'm putting here. They're a little bit extreme, but maybe some of the project will need to do some of those things. Removal of one or more travel lane. If we decide to remove one lane from 3 lanes to make the road 2 lanes, or from 2 to 1 in one direction, to put a bike lane, we will need to do a public hearing. If we remove more than 10% of parking spaces across a length of a project. And if we are widening a roadway, if we are removing sidewalks, removing trees, taking properties from residents, those will be things that we will need to do something about. And the actions is the next slide, and it's just a process they want to put to make sure we are informing everybody, all the businesses, we send them letters, we have public hearings, and then public meetings, and then we hold the public hearing with the mayor and council, and then we'll wait for the mayor and council to make a decision about this project. So this was an important point that after a lot of discussion, we just agreed that we will put this language in the plan. And of course, our thinking that we will never go and do project like this without having a process and working with the community. But they felt more comfortable if we have language to put it here, so that's why I just want to make sure it's emphasized here. The plan also has some other recommendations, not going through them all, but it's not just about the network or the spot improvement, it's about intersections, about parking, about signage, about the bike share stations, how to collect data, and so forth. The funding for any of those projects will probably go through our CIP funds, but we have transportation improvement fees that we are collecting from developers. We have some speed camera money, not much these days, but we have some we can use. We have some operating costs that we use to put pavement marking, and we get grants. We have been successful lately to get some grants for pavement marking, and we just got a grant for a bike share station. So. Where we are in this process, the first 3 items through the Planning Commission, and they're complete. We got their approval on this plan, and now the next 3 steps are with the Mayor and Council will be the public hearing, which is scheduled for December 12th, and a work session probably January 23rd or January 30th. We'll see about that. And then will be the approval and adoption will be the last step. So a little bit more in details after the public hearing that's scheduled for December 12th. The Mayor and Council have 90 days from the date of the transmittal letter. And the transmittal letter, you've probably seen it in the attachment. That's when the Planning Commission officially is submitting this plan to the Mayor and Council, which was November 16. We made it this date to give you as much time as possible. So if we take 90 days, an action has to be made before or by February 13. But you also have the power to ask for an extension of 60 days, like we did with the Rockville Pike plan. And then you have 150 days, so we have till April 14th. The actions that you can do, here are the options: to adopt the plan, or amend it, then adopt it, or amend the plan, return it back to the Planning Commission, or reject the plan. And if you do not do any act of these action, the Planning Commission plan becomes the official city adopted plan. Outreach, just to give you an idea, there's a big list, but not going to go through them all, but we did a lot of outreach for that in the last few weeks, and more will be done in the next couple of weeks for the public hearings to make sure everybody's aware of it. And those are the ways that people can testify or provide comments through emails, through the in-person mail. And at this point, we have the public hearing. We said it's open until December 30th, but obviously, maybe during the public hearing, you can decide to extend it beyond that. That's all I have for now.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. El
You're
Shafi.
welcome.
Thank you for being here. Any Comments or questions, council members? Councilmember Feinberg.
Thank you very much, and thank you for a great presentation.
Oh.
Very well done, very easy to follow you. We have a lot to read and think about. I did question, though, the public hearing closure date being December 30th, being from the 12th to the 30th. That hits the height of the holiday season for many people who are out of town. So I wanted to ask my colleagues if they would be in agreement to extend that at least another week to give more people the opportunity to participate.
I mean, you can do this tonight, or you can wait for the public hearing, because usually in the public hearing, as you know, that's when we say, okay, the public hearing is over, but the records will be open until, and then we can decide the date then.
Right, and I understand that. I just think since the subject is here upon us, and there are some weeks we have sessions and some we don't, given the holiday season is actually beginning this week. Just might as well talk about that now.
Exactly. Thank you. Councilmember Palakovich-Carr.
I would support that so long as that doesn't hold up staff's ability to have the next work session for us on January 23rd.
Sorry, discussion.
Councilmember Pershela.
I agree with what both Councilmember Feinberg and Councilmember Palakovich-Carr just said.
I would support that as well, and I was wondering, you mentioned the comments that you'd received already through the Planning Commission process, and I did not take the Bikeway Master Plan with me this week, but I tried to look quickly. Were the comments included in the packet tonight?
Yes, all the comments from the Planning Commission were all included in the plan, and they made sure they're all there before they approved it. So all the comments we received in the last 2 or 3 years, we discussed it with the Planning Commission, but the specific comments about the public hearing and the process, they were all included in section 5.1.
All the comments that have been received to date are in 5.1 of this book?
You are asking about the comments we received from the public?
Yes.
No. I mean, the comments we received from the public are probably 30 pages of spreadsheet, but those were all discussed with the Planning Commission, and based on them, this plan was revised from the version of 2014 to the version of 2016, based on all of those comments we received.
I understand that. I just would like to have a copy of all of those comments as well as part of our information going forward.
We can send.
And then what I think I heard you say is that all of the Planning Commission comments are included in 5.1.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And I saw a hand. Councilmember Pershela.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just got to say I'm happy that this is finally before us, and I really think that the document itself is incredibly well done and very clear. So I'm just looking forward to working with this and you know, expediting it and being done with it. I think it's a great move that we're going from considering bikes to be just a recreational activity and more exercise and transportation and other things. And it's going to be a long process to get the whole city bike friendly, but eventually we'll get there, and this is how we do it. And I want to thank also Rockville Bike Advisory Committee and Traffic Transportation Commission for their input on it.
Councilmember Palakovich-Carr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to ask kind of one high-order question and then ask a couple of logistical things in advance of our next work session. So I appreciated the treatment in the plan about the outreach that staff have done to neighboring jurisdictions about what's in their bike plans. But I'm wondering if there were any conversations just to see what else, like the county and Gaithersburg are planning that may not yet be formalized in a plan, but might be coming up. For instance, I'll point to a meeting that Councilmember Pershela and I and several members of the Bike Advisory Committee attended, I don't know, several months ago, and got to hear a little bit about what some bike activists in Gaithersburg and in the county are hoping for in terms of planning from those entities going forward. So I'm just wondering if there was any kind of more informal outreach besides what's been adopted into other plans.
At the beginning of the process, we actually had like a committee of the Bikeway Master Plan, and we invited people from the state and from the county. So they were involved at the beginning when we were putting this plan together. But lately also, you might see in Appendix B what we call cross-town routes. And this one thing we revised after we started the plan, which we try to make sure that all those routes go from city limit to city limits. At some point we just have, okay, this from here to here. But then we found like it would make sense to connect them to whatever facilities that the county has. So that's with the revision. So you see all of those cross-route town, east-west or north-south are connected to the city limits, and a lot of them are connected to existing facilities for the county.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. It's important not to think about us as an island, but as people who are biking through Rockville or out of Rockville, et cetera, et cetera. I did want to make a request for some data. I know I've seen in the past maps that show hotspots of accidents, bicycle accidents within the city. If we could see that in advance of the next work session, just to kind of get a context for some of the new facilities that are proposed. And then I also just wanted to make a suggestion. I know that the date for the first work session is planned, but given how busy the winter months get to start to get to be in terms of budget, if maybe we can start to plan for at least one other work session to be kind of held in the dates, just given how full the calendars get here. Thank you.
We, by the way, have a spreadsheet that we have been collecting all the data related to pedestrian or bicycles crashes that we received in, I cannot even think how many years back. So this would be easy to put them all either on a map or a spreadsheet at least, and so you can see all the crashes that we collected for bikes and pedestrians.
That's great. Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's going to come up at the next. Okay, you want to make a motion? It's fine.
Excuse me, I thought we were going to set the date now to extend the public hearing. I think there seemed to be consensus here to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. We all
What date?
four of us agree, but do we have
Okay.
a date that we want to go to?
We
So
can
we can-
extend it 7 days.
Okay, just so we can publicize it for folks to know now with the holidays. Thank you.
Might want to wait until we're back in session. I mean, back at, we're closed until the 3rd? Oh, so it would be, are you extending it until the 9th, or are you extending it until the 3rd? What are you?
We can extend to the 9th.
We can extend it tonight.
Okay, that's great. Super. Thank you.